McDonald's manager is recovering after a customer hurls hot coffee at her. She was apparently mad that her breakfast order was canceled. The couple who caught it all on camera, cracking the case for police, breaks it down for us.
All right, Venters, check out this film. Let's get right to it.
She said properly and apologize to somebody for being here over an hour. That's what you
can have within 20 minutes later.
Catch that.
Now, the toughest part of that film for me was the screaming. Whenever you hear anybody, especially a woman, scream like that, it's very sad. It really hits the emotions. So I would really love to know what you thought of that whole scenario there. The customer basically says something along the lines of, you know, you should apologize for making me wait, or making a customer wait for over an hour. So let's put ourselves in that situation. I think we've all had situations where you go into a fast food restaurant and you're hoping that you get served and actually start eating your meal within, you know, let's say 10 or 15 minutes. You end up going in there and sometimes they have a lunch rush through the drive-through. And for whatever reason, these fast food restaurants give preferred treatment to the drive-through people because they want to get them in and out quicker. And sometimes it equates to you and I that eat inside, you know, having a meal that ends up coming 20 or 30 minutes later. So according to this customer, she had to wait for over an hour. Now, my thinking is if you have to wait for over an hour, you simply take your receipt up to the front and you say, give me a refund, and you go on your way. Instead, this woman opens up the coffee lid and throws scalding hot coffee on this poor lady. And then perhaps the most disgusting thing that I've noticed in a lot of these crimes like this around the country is look at the way she just kind of walks away matter-of-factly, like she just threw a straw in the trash, like no big deal. There's something evil, cold, and yet calculating about this. There's a lot of people, and it probably arose from people in my age group, that believe if you go to a fast food restaurant and you complain, that you should get free food and stuff. Now, the reality is a lot of times if you do complain, you'll get rewarded with free food and stuff. The only problem is everybody knows that that's not guaranteed. I think we have a lot of people in this country that just don't know how to accept the word no. And I have a feeling this woman probably did get a refund, but on top of a refund, she probably wanted something else. It just doesn't seem like a good enough reason to throw scalding hot coffee on somebody. Now, the good news is apparently the manager, besides the screaming, only had minor burns, which leads me to believe that she probably didn't get anything on her face, thank goodness, and she's probably not going to have too much scarring, if any. On another video of this same incident, I heard that it was because of the delay in this video, but on the other video I heard it was because they had put in creamer in her coffee or didn't put creamer in her coffee. One of those two reasons. No matter what reason it is, it doesn't validate doing that. I think that is something that can be rectified with a 5-year prison sentence. That's me. What do you think should happen? I think what's going to happen is probably little or nothing. That video was like 35, 40 seconds long. And in that short amount of time, you see so much. You see rage on one side, and then you see regret on the other, because I'm sure that manager regrets not just giving this woman what she wants. But see, therein lies the problem. If everybody that just yells the loudest and gets the most violent always gets everything, who wants to live in a country like that? We're supposed to live in a civilized society, and there's a certain decorum that's expected. With that being said, I don't think we're ever going to see that decorum return to this country until we start putting out some severe penalties. And I just have a really funny suspicion that literally nothing's going to happen to this lady. RC Max says this is an assault with a deadly weapon, hot coffee. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of months back, or excuse me, about a year or so ago, there was a woman that was having kind of like a psychological breakdown, and the cops went into her apartment and she threatened to throw hot water on them, and because of that, they shot her. Now, I believe over the past couple months that officer ended up being found guilty, and I believe he's going to be serving some prison time for that. But that just goes to show you that in the officer's demented point of view, he saw that hot water as a reason to end somebody's life. Now, the reason I mention that ultimately is because throwing a hot liquid on somebody is very severe, but not worth losing your life over. Ghost22 says, I think the attacker was trying to do the I'm unhappy with my service time and I should get my food for free today scam. See, it is a scam. If you ask for something for free and the manager doesn't offer it up, or the manager says no, that's their prerogative. Your prerogative is you don't have to go back to that restaurant ever again. And if they treated you like crap and you had to wait an hour for service, why would you ever want to go back? We need to get out of this expecting free stuff all the time. And then when I honestly hope to goodness that if the judge does not throw her in jail, I hope the judge gets tossed behind bars. B Cashnut 447 says the person throwing the coffee will probably not face any charges. They won't face any charges. Starry Night says this is a hate crime. So where do you guys fall on this? Is this a hate crime? If the situation were reversed and it was a white customer throwing hot coffee onto a black employee, would we consider that a hate crime? I think in both cases, we should consider this a hate crime if considering it a hate crime throws some more time onto the person's prison sentence. Because again, I think this person deserves a good 5-year stint in prison. Because what if this wouldn't have been coffee? What if it would have been a cup of bleach? I mean, a person like this is willing to throw whatever they want at you. In case you're wondering, was everybody on the McDonald's employee side? No. The opposition side says, and this is from a person named Angel_Yuck, the manager should have apologized. Suck it up. It's work. You're getting paid. You smile, you apologize, you offer a refund, show some empathy. Would you ever want to empathize with an animal like that that's going to throw hot coffee on somebody? What if that manager was your sister? What if she was your mom? What if she was your daughter or significant other? What would you want to do to that person that just threw coffee on her and then just walked out of the store like it was no big deal? And then to know there's people like Angel Yuck that are actually going to take her side. That's what I call yucky. That's disgusting. Vagrant Hex responded to Angel Yuck and said, the fact that you're the only one in here actually sticking up for the crazy lady who threw the coffee at someone says a lot about your own mental health status. I think a lot of these people that are dealing with mental health issues, I think they're just a bad day away from being a hardened criminal myself. I think we've been giving a lot of people a lot of grace for way too long, and I think we need to tighten up the screws on that. Now, you guys might be wondering, what does Democrat leadership have to say about this? They have to say this: coffee was discovered by hyperactive goats. Legend has it 9th century Ethiopian goat herder named Kaldi noticed that his goats were dancing after eating the red berries. He tried them himself, and voila, coffee was born. So that's what we get from Democrat leadership. They want you to know how coffee was born. Here's another Democrat talking point. Coffee helped invent the webcam. Did you know that? Researchers at Cambridge University set up a crude webcam in 1991 to monitor their coffee pot there in the office, so they wouldn't waste a trip on an empty coffee pot. So the next time you set up for your Zoom meeting, because you're lucky enough to work from home, just know you can thank that webcam on that cup of coffee that you're brewing or that you're drinking from. Coffee can make you more attractive. Thank goodness Democrat leadership tells us this. Coffee can make you more attractive. Studies suggest caffeine boosts dopamine and energy levels, which can make people appear more confident and appealing. Thank you, Democrat leadership, for that. Now, wouldn't it be great if Democrat leadership took it a step further and actually put this monster behind bars? And how about this? Everybody that copies this move from this monster, how about they go behind bars too? How about no more third, fourth, and fifth chances? Because I have a feeling this person probably has a couple of other little check marks on her past. I told you guys yesterday that we were going to go see Nuremberg, but it's a long movie, so we're actually going to go see it today. But remember how Nuremberg started? You had a guy, Adolf Hitler, that was looking for a scapegoat in society, and so he chose to go with the Jewish people there in Berlin and Germany, right? And ultimately, that's the world that we're headed for here in the U.S. We have two sides of the aisle. Both of them are pointing at the other, crying and declaring racism. If we don't get these problems in check soon, we are actually laying the foundation for somebody like a Hitler to come in and start solving these problems. And no, I don't consider Orange Man to be Hitler. As a matter of fact, I think the Orange Man's trying to fight so that a lot of us can avoid World War III. And I wish a lot of you guys would maybe start to be a little bit more patriotic about it. With that being said, I hope you guys go and see Nuremberg too. I'm hoping it's a good movie and not boring, but it looks good. It's got a lot of stars in it. With that being said, make sure you take your walk today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.